Okay, hello. We're going to try to make this work. It's a windy day and I'm not in a sheltered spot, but I have a windbreak over the microphone on the other side of the phone, so hopefully it'll be okay. So another midweek chat. We are May Day. Remember making May Day baskets? I used to do that. I see these flowers. They were my favorite flowers as a kid. That's how I'd always draw them in my art projects. That's how I still draw them. It's not great art. It's kind of, my mom's a good artist, and I never quite picked that up. So I hope this works with this windshield, that it's not so loud. I'm trying to get the winds from the west, but also from the northwest. So anyway, if this works, it works. I'll try maybe not to talk too long in case I have to do it over this later in the day. So I got some Parish news. It's May Day. It's not Parish news. It's worldwide news, world news. Often a day of labor, right? Some of the history, it seemed like in the late 1880s became a day of labor. Germany declared it a national labor holiday in 1933 with the rise of the fascists and Hitler, which is ironic because they outlawed labor unions when they got into greater power. But and then in the 50s, I think it's 55, Pope Pius XII made May Day, May 1st, the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker. So kind of piggybacked on that it was a day when we celebrated the dignity of work and the workers. And Joseph, of course, worker, carpenter, right? So we got a letter from Bishop Callahan today about May Day, because it's the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker, his patron saint of the Diocese of La Crosse. And he mentioned about the new bishop coming, Bishop Battersby, on May 20th. And he said May 20th was chosen. I didn't realize this because it's called the Feast of Mary, Mother of the Church. So specifically, Bishop Battersby and Bishop Callahan agreed on May 20th as the best day to have the new bishop become bishop with the big mass. Hey, it's not a public mass. I thought it was. I told a few people that it was, but it's by invitation only, huh? So that's the way it goes. But it's going to be on TV. It's going to be televised, and our own Father Krasinski from St. Olaf's, our neighbors to the north, is going to be doing the color commentary with, I assume, someone from the TV. So if we could just keep him focused on the mass and not the Packers draft success, he knows everything. So it's very. I looked to him for educated opinions on every topic. He loves everything from the Packers to astronomy, but he knows church really well, so it'll be great. He's a good choice to have, as very articulate and smart. So he'll be a good person to have on TV for the color commentary. Let's see. It is windy. Okay. March came in like a lion, but it's not March. It's not even April anymore. It's April. March came in like a lion. April came, wept aside, and along came pretty little May. Pretty little May. Well, we got the flowers, May flowers. My mom's I bought them. It was right before my mom had those little strokes last year. Oops. Oh. Get this thing right. Make sure you get to see the flowers. It's the main attraction there. Let's see here. Okay. Back online here. Okay, get my windscreen up. Okay. Oh. Okay. Here we go. So, Parish news. We had May crowning today. Speaking of May, our school children, our fifth graders are in charge of that, Miss Bell. And we had Lauren do the actual honors of the crowning. So I don't know if that was by lot or she was picked for being exceptional in her piety. But she's a good gal for sure. And I asked the kids, I said, tell me about Mary's spirituality. Because we read the Magnificat for the gospel of the day, the Visitation and the Magnificat. My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. What do you know about Mary's spirituality? What does she think about God? And she said, a couple different people said. One said, she said that all generations call me blessed, so she knew that she was blessed. I said, that's an awesome thing about Mary's spirituality, that she was blessed, that God loved her. And then someone else said that she trusted. That's what Elizabeth told her. Blessed are you who trusted that what was spoken to you by the Lord would be fulfilled. And so she said, yeah, she trusted in God and that God would lead her. I said, great. And there were some other things too, but aren't those two things great if we all kind of held that? We all can't, be the Virgin Mother of the Lord, but we can all have her sort of characteristics of faith. To trust that God leads us in good ways and cares for us, and to know that we're blessed and we're loved. Great things. So that was Macron today. That was good, and they had some good comments. My arm's getting sore, Let's see. What else? School stuff. So Friday will be our walk for Virtues Day. They get pledges and then they walk around. I'm not sure if they're walking around the school block this year, if they're going to do something with all of Regis Catholic Schools at a park. They've done different things, different years. But it's the one school fundraiser that St. James families support and do. That's the only one we do for the year for St. James. When I was a kid, we always had to sell candy door to door. That made me crazy. But so this is their one big fundraiser. So if you are approached by a child, now that's their one fundraiser for the year, that you could pledge toward that. Ooh, here comes a big dump truck. Speaking of Joseph the Worker, the Feast of Joseph the Worker, we pray for the worker there making stuff and moving dirt. So Walk for Virtues Friday, and the money they earn they'll use to paint the school walls, inner walls, and also to pay for field trips. It's getting really expensive, our buses. So that'll make them able to have more field trips and pay for the bus rides. Which Beth and Kelly have learned how expensive buses are. Thanks again, everybody who supported the summer service trip for our youth, our high school youth. It should be real good. It's getting to feel less likely that I'll be able to join that because I heard last week the new Bishop Battersby Bishop Gerard will be our speaker at Priest Unity Day. So I imagine I should go to that. I would want to, but I want to do both. Speaking of which, I'll get to that. When you want to do two things, how do you know which is God's will? Looking for God's will on this Feast of Mary. That would be a nice thing to talk about today, maybe. Do I have any other things quick to figure out, though? Teacher Appreciation Week is next week, so whether you have kids in our Catholic schools or public schools, Teacher Appreciation Week, you can give your child's teacher an apple or something more. I should have picked a lighter windbreak. It's heavy on my arms. Okay, tulips, Mom. Well, I got Mom these zinnia. I think it's zinnias last year for Mother's Day in a pot, and that was just a week later she had the strokes. And so I took the zinnias home after a little while because they were not doing well inside her apartment. And I planted them in the ground, then I dug them up, and a couple of weeks, then I brought them in at winter, and they started to bloom again about a month ago. And then like a fool, I didn't water it, and then it's like, but I put water in and they bounced back, so I'm kind of excited. It's a meaningful little plant for me because of the timing when I gave it to Mom. I gotta get that. Should I get that? I'll get it later. Okay. So, what do we got? Pope Francis talked about faith this morning in his audience at the Vatican. I loved what he said in here. He said, being Christian is welcoming and cherishing a bond with God and myself, God and I, myself, and the amiable face of Jesus. And the amiable face of Jesus. I have a couple faces of Jesus that I like to pray with. One you may find more amiable than the other, but I like them both so much. This is my most valuable one. I think I've probably shown it before in the chat, but that's Jesus. I should have brought that out for the Good Shepherd Sunday. Jesus, usually you see the Good Shepherd holding the sheep around his neck. Here it's obviously in his arms with the sign of blessing. The face of Jesus, right? The amiable face of Jesus, being Christian. I know everybody doesn't like this style of art. something that looks more like a photograph. This one, when I really want to do some heavy hitting connecting with Jesus, I bring this one out. And it might seem a little fierce, but I don't see it as that. I see it as all-knowing. And the eye contact is just intense. I really feel like I can connect to the one who knows me better than I know myself and who loves me. When I see this image, this was from, I think, the 1300s by a man named Andrei Rublev, Russian. So anyway, face of Jesus there. Good, got some walkers there. Let's see. But that's what I'm holding. This is my windbreak, and it's heavy. So it's like, I'll put it back because it might be windy now. Okay. Teacher appreciation. Bake sale this weekend. PCCW bake sale this weekend. So bring your bucks. I'll try to get some loaves of bread cooked, baked. Scrap metal drive. People often wonder. Actually, last summer my mom started using a walker, and we were going out for breakfast, and the parking lot was a little tight. So I put the walker on top of my car, and then I got Mom in the passenger seat, and then I drove off. And about a minute later, when we're on Town Line Road in Wausau, I hear a clunk clunk behind me, and the walker fell off. And it didn't look that damaged, but when we got out and Mom started using it, she'd walk and then she'd kind of veer to the left, and then she'd pick it up and go straight, and she'd veer to the left. So it was damaged. We had to get a new one. But I took the parts from that, and I have it in the garage, so I'm going to take those over to the scrap metal. No, I already did that. I have the legs for it. I thought we might use the legs, but I haven't needed it, so I'll take that to scrap metal. Wind died down. I can give my arms a break. Okay. Discernment. When we're choosing between two good things, I forget the example that I just had, but two good things. And we always want to do, what God wants us to do, right? We heard about Mary today. Let it be done to me as you will. I'm the handmaid of the Lord. That kind of should be our attitude in life. And sometimes there's really some good things that are kind of vying for our attention. And gosh, one just came up when I was talking. But anyway, how do you know what's God's will? It's always the question. And sometimes we use our imagination. It's like, well, let's say I choose A. Whether it's like what relationship do I want to pursue? What job do I want to take? Where do I want to live? What car should I buy? It could be anything from really kind of a sacred, holy thing about our vocation. Should I be a priest? Should I get married? That kind of stuff. You ask, maybe imagine it. Imagine yourself doing choice A. And how does that feel? Does it bring you some kind of peace? Maybe it's something new. Maybe it makes you afraid. But there's different kinds of fear. There's a fear that really agitates you. And it's like a kind of a red flag, like maybe you're not ready for that. Or maybe there's a fear like, I'm afraid of this, but I know it's right. There's a deeper peace under that fear. And so even though I'm afraid, I'm going to take the angel's advice and be not afraid and meet faith with courage and walk in that direction, because there's a deeper peace. Usually you kind of can look for that peace. St. Ignatius Loyola always says that's kind of the hallmark of God's will, if it makes you feel some peace. Again, it may be accompanied with some fear and anxiety because it's a difficult choice, but that's good. So, I'm holding up this windbreak, but it's facing like this to the people, so they're seeing Jesus sideways. Hope it doesn't seem sacrilegious that I'm using an icon for a windbreak. I need a windbreak. So, there's that. Just imagining ourselves, listing pros and cons. It might not seem like a real prayerful spiritual exercise, but heck yeah, it is. You just try to clarify in your mind, what are the advantages of B? What are the disadvantages? What are the advantages of A? What are the disadvantages? This maybe sounds a little crude, but I remember, let's say you're in the fortunate situation of having two significant others you could pick from, and they both seem to like you. And who do you want to date? Who do you want to be with? Who do you want to commit your time to? Laverne or Shirley, right? And So, you can list things like, I made a quick list here so I wouldn't forget. Personality. Who's got a better personality? Check Laverne or Shirley. Who's more attractive to me physically? It matters. Laverne or Shirley, if that's the kind of relationship there. Whose spirituality do I admire more? Laverne or Shirley? Who has hobbies that I like also? Just things like that. But, some of those, like, whose spirituality do I like more? That's more important than whether they play pickleball or not, right? So you might have these categories and then weight them. Like spirituality gets 5 points, and whether they play pickleball gets 1 point. But you just kind of put it all out on paper, and you kind of just rank them against each other, choice A, choice B. That can be clarifying. It can be real clarifying. Or maybe it's like a draw. Or maybe, you do that test and it looks like everything's pointing to Laverne, and you're disappointed because you wanted it to point to Shirley. Well, that's a sign too, isn't it? It shows maybe that you really did have a preference you weren't aware of. So anyway, so that could be God's will in that. God, wants us to have abundant life. So you're making a choice between two good things. By the way, if there's ever a choice between a good thing and a bad thing, it's God's will that you do the good thing. All the saints to attest to that. So that's kind of a no-brainer. You just do this hard work when there's like good things you're deciding about. And so one is to imagine, yourself in front of you, but you're your friend. It's like you're a friend of yourself, and you kind of picture yourself, and you're having compassion because you know what a difficult time you're having trying to make this decision, and you just kind of ponder, look at yourself from outside yourself, and like you're your best friend. What would you advise yourself as a friend? What would you advise yourself if you're a friend of yourself? Just like a friend comes up to you, boys, I'm having struggle with this, I don't know what to do. What would you say, right? Probably my favorite one when you're struggling about different choices is imagine yourself on your deathbed, older. I don't want to say, I used to say 90, but I know a lot of vibrant people older than 90. So I'll just say when you're much older and feel like you're going to die and you're reviewing your life, and you look at yourself as a younger person with the current dilemma in front of you, and you ask yourself, what do I wish I would have chosen? What do I wish I would have chosen? It's a great spiritual exercise if you can get into that imaginative space. What do I wish I would have chosen? Let me try it. Okay. Well, this might be a better windscreen. I have all these old books from Mom's house. Maybe I could do this. Look at this. I think I can put this whole thing behind it. It's tall enough that I don't have to hold it up in the air. I can just let it on the ground here on the box. Okay. Sorry for all these distractions. So we got some good rules we call these rules for discernment. And the other, so those are, I guess those are my favorites. I kind of put that down, different rules. I have a little sheet I sometimes give people when they come in with dilemmas. If you'd ever want to request one of those from me, I'd be happy to make a copy and send it or give it to you. Sometimes maybe, just had this thought, sometimes maybe you're thinking about something and a choice, and you kind of know what God would want, but you don't feel like you have the courage or the freedom quite to make that choice. And it's a hard place to be. And I guess we just encourage myself, encourage you if you're ever in that place. And take a breath and just to pray for that deeper freedom, and to know that it's not like God will withhold God's love from you or compassion if you're not fully free to embrace His will as you think you know it. We pray to be able to get there, to get free. A lot of people maybe proclaim that they're doing God's will, but they're really not. There's a great prayer I'll end with. And the other thing with discernment is sometimes I like to, especially during the Easter season, pray I fire up it's a perk of being a pastor. You can go into church at night and fire up with the Easter candle and just kind of sit and pray. And help me see things a little more clearly, God. And when you kind of make a decision, kind of take that to the Lord. And I like this image. And I'll just be like, well, Lord, this is where I'm at today. Am I doing right by you? Is there something that, would you rather I do something else? Is it this choice that I've made? Is it okay with you? Do you bless it? I know you love me. I know you want what's best for me. And I want to follow your will, So, okay. And I really like this prayer. This prayer has given me comfort over the years. Kind of a famous prayer. If you're a Thomas Merton fan, I'm sure you've heard it. If you're not, you might have heard it anyway. He says, this is someone who's trying to decide things about life and is having trouble. My Lord God, I have no idea where I am going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end. Nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope I have that desire in all that I'm doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore, I will trust you always, though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. I want to rewind that and listen to it again. Isn't that a beautiful prayer? Excuse me. So that's about it. I hope this could be heard. I tried to get the books up and the icons up to block the wind. Pray for all of us that we might have deeper freedom in our lives, deeper faith, to know that we have this bond with God and ourselves. And how did Pope Francis say? A relationship between me and the amiable face of the Lord, of God, of Jesus. And we got our May flowers here to celebrate our new life. So I'm not sure who lives here, but I like their flowers. God bless you, everybody.